Veronica, you forgot the part about how I'm usually confused with Brad Pitt.
That's right.
I asked, first of all, let me say following that presentation, the Mobile Rotarian was correct. Let's say it all together, no brainer. And you have a rock star as a medical advisor. That was terrific. So I asked Veronica, what do you want me to say? And she said, tell your story. And so I asked my wife, Jenny, who's here with both our moms, what do you think I should talk about? She said, well, you're a survivor. Why don't you talk about the second chances that you've gotten in life from surviving with cancer? And I'm going to do both. But what I want to focus on at first and at the end is just chances. Just chances. As in, if you had told me 12 years ago that what is one of the most communicable viruses on the planet can cause deadly cancer, I would have said, no chance. Come on. And if you had told me that there's a select few who, when they get this virus, don't shed it, and they're the group who get this cancer for reasons we still don't really yet know, I would have said no chance. As chance would have it, 12 years ago tomorrow, I found a lump in my neck while shaving. Completely unsuspecting, completely asymptomatic. And I went to my doctor, and he sent me to an ENT, and the ENT sent me to get a CT scan, and the CT scan results sent me to get a biopsy. And what are the chances that at the midpoint, 4 years into my first late wife's 8-year breast cancer struggle, I'm diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma that began in my tonsils, had broken through to my lymph nodes, had broken through the capsule of the lymph nodes, and was on its way to metastasize distantly, probably in my lungs. What are the chances, right? And so, thus began my 6-month course of treatment, while also being the primary caregiver and often solo parent in my home with my wife at the time, who was acutely ill. And by the way, I don't know how many people drove carpool with a big Tupperware bowl just in case they got nauseous while waiting in carpool line, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And in case you don't know about the treatment for this oral head and neck cancer, I had 2 surgeries. First is called left neck dissection, where they cut you from earlobe to Adam's apple, take out those lymph nodes and the connective tissues. And then a couple of weeks later, I had a radical oncological tonsillectomy. Now, I don't know how many of you had your tonsils out as a child. We had our sons taken out a couple of years ago. It hurts, but kids get over it pretty quickly. At 41, it really hurts. But they don't just take your tonsils. If you can imagine an ice cream scoop going into the back wall of the throat, scooping out layers until they get clean margins. And then, after that, 3 rounds of IV chemo and 7 weeks of Monday through Friday daily radiation. And to your point, my radiation oncologist told me at my most recent checkup that they think this is the worst therapy they give in terms of what it does to the patient. Most patients have to have a feeding tube and a port installed for the chemo. I'm one of the rare ones. I swallowed the whole way through. I didn't get a feeding tube. I think some of that was just sheer stubbornness, if you want to know the truth, because I had things I needed to do at home. The way the radiation works, they make a mold of your face and your head that mirrors every contour of your head and face, and then it hardens. And then every day, in my case, my appointment was consistently every morning, I would go in, lie down on the table, and they bolt that mask over your head to the table. And you lie there immobilized for 40 minutes while they nuke your throat, playing the exact same sequence of songs. Over the music every day. Songs which to this day I still can't listen to. And then 12 years from this Halloween, if you had asked me what are the chances that I would be here today to talk to you, I would say, I just don't know. They don't have survivor data past 5 years. But then what are the chances that 4 years later, my first wife would lose her battle to breast cancer? And what are the chances that I would be blessed with so many second chances? For example, finding love again in the form of my wife Jenny, who is the adoptive mother of my girls. And to them, she is their mom, and they are her daughters. The second chance to be able to have another child, this time a son, Jenny and my son, Ben. The chance to change jobs and have what is the most fulfilling career I have ever had. And then what are the chances that Jenny and her 2 sisters, all 3 of them, tested positive for a genetic mutation that increased their lifetime risk of developing breast cancer, which for the population is around 12%, to a present risk of over 60%. I didn't have an option to prevent my cancer. My first wife didn't have an option to prevent hers. Jenny and her sisters were presented with the quite somber option of preventing theirs, and with amazing courage to witness, they all 3 underwent prophylactic double mastectomies. Now, let me say this. I don't know how many dudes there are out there who've been married twice, and both women have had double mastectomies, but it is a unique and rare fraternity, I think. And so I start thinking about our kids, our friends and their children, and all of the stats that we heard in the prior presentation. If there's a risk of developing one of these HPV-related cancers, what a chance. Jenny and her sisters had to have a surgical amputation to prevent their risk of cancer. HPV-related cancers? It's a shot. We go to Target too, by the way, after shots in our head. It's a shot. So I think the message from my story is why chance it? Why chance it?